Welcome to the Work Hard People's Podcast. Hope everybody out there's having a great day. I have the beautiful Chelsea Buhrman with me. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Sir James smiles a lot. How about
That's
yourself?
right. That's right. Is it freezing up there in Nebraska?
You know what? It actually isn't today. It was about 60 degrees today. We've had
Ah,
unseasonably warm weather this February. Normally it's disgusting. It's my birthday month, so I would know it's always disgusting in my birthday month. So
when's your birthday?
it was the 19th.
The 19th. That's right. Happy birthday.
Well,
Happy
thank
birthday.
you.
And before we get into this thing, I know, so I have to, okay, Rose Gym, the Arnold Classic this weekend, my favorite show of all of them. So I'm
Ooh.
very excited about that. I love the Arnold Classic. I wish I could go. I haven't been in a couple years, but I got some friends there right now, and it's stacked. I mean, you got S- Samson Dowd is going to be there. You got Hadi Chupin, Mr. Olympia himself from 2 years ago. He's in there in the field. It's going to be the classic physique is stacked. I mean, it's going to be a great show. I'm excited to see the outcome of that. So, but with that, we have Chelsea on because she does something on Instagram and I see it on Facebook and stuff that she is in my opinion, a master chef when it comes to food. And she proves that you can diet and eat macro friendly and enjoy it.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
It can taste good. So, after you watch this one, you guys are going to chuck the chicken and rice and we're going to jump on Chelsea's bandwagon because she does
I
some
mean,
great stuff.
yeah, I like chicken and rice, but I can't eat chicken and rice every day. So,
No,
no.
I hear you. It's one thing if you are a professional or you're preparing for a show and you really have to clean out everything.
Yeah,
But
sure.
that's a totally different ball game, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just the average person that wants to eat healthy, and more importantly to me, it's not so much calories, it's being macro friendly to your body and what your body needs and how your body functions,
Right.
right? As a nutritionist, that's like the first if I get a brand new client and we're going over nutrition, the first month of that process is me figuring out what foods work with them, right?
Hmm.
Because I do not like clients to do, I don't like to go, oh, you're doing chicken and rice, that's all you're eating, and we'll figure it out later. No, I want you to eat foods that you enjoy. I want to educate you on the health benefits of different foods, give you a variety of things, but we need to find what works with your body, right? I
Hmm.
love steak. I love it. It does not love me. So I figured that out for myself, and I know, hey, I can eat red meat. I just can't eat it 2, 3 times a week. If I do, it's gonna mess my digestion up. It's gonna mess with me. So I'll eat red meat once a week, maybe twice at the most. But we just got to figure out our own bodies. But I mean, some of the desserts that you make, it's amazing how macro friendly they are. So where's your inspiration for like just in general? Where's that come from?
Uh, about food or like,
Yeah, just come in. Wait, first before we go, everybody, I'm gonna post your Instagram and your Facebook because you post these recipes and these different foods and you list the macros, exactly what the macros are of it, which I love because people would check that out. But you just did something really cool, and I don't want to get too far away from this and forget. You just placed third in the Old School Labs Transformation Challenge and got yourself a nice little check out of that. Congratulations for that.
thank you.
Yeah, I was excited to see that. So,
Me
but
too.
food, where's your passion? Did you just like to cook or,
Yeah.
uh, and so what made you decide, hey, I want to start playing around with different recipes and see what I can do and keep it within the macros for my family, for my health, and the different things that I'm doing. How'd that come about?
Yeah, so I've always loved cooking. I got that from my dad. My dad was the chef of the family. He was a good cook and he taught me a few things. And I I guess I followed in his footsteps there. Um, so I've always been into cooking and baking. Um, but when I got into fitness, let's see, I've kind of always been in it for a while, but when I really got into it back in 2015, is when I guess I started looking at the nutrition aspect because before I didn't really look at it. And so that's when I started seeing results, is when I started adding in the nutrition and stuff. It started with, I guess, kind of more portion sizing stuff, making sure I was getting in proteins and vegetables and fruits and healthy fats and, um, healthy carbs and stuff like that. And then I learned about counting macros. And I stumbled, as many people do, as upon people on influencers and stuff on Instagram, and I found a gal, that I I found her through like the workouts that I was doing. She was married to one of the trainers or whatever, and I was like, oh hey, cool. And she made a book on how to count macros, and it included recipes, and so I ordered that book and I learned myself how to count macros. I was
There
like,
you
oh
go.
yeah, so I can learn to I you know, going from, oh, you can only eat this and what fits here and this, and it has to be this way and it has to be this, to like I can fit what I want. And it taught me how to, at first it's like you really opens up your eyes on how much is in everything that you eat. Like
Yeah.
you start learning that, oh yeah, great, I can have this piece of pizza. Oh, that takes up that those two slices of pizza take up like half my daily needs of like everything. So,
Yeah.
okay.
When you
Well,
start tracking food,
yes. Yep.
that's when you figure it out.
Oh yeah. And so you start logging that and you're like, oh crap. Well, all right. So then it migrated into, well, how can I change this to still eat pizza, but let's make it less carbs, super high protein, and, still moderate on the fat because you got your cheese and stuff like that. So, and that's why I start doing with everything. What can I substitute? How can I make this more macro friendly? And I end up coming up with a pizza that's, stupid high in protein and fairly low for carbs for pizza, and definitely lower in fat, but still, moderate in fat. And I can still have pizza and like cheesy garlic bread stick things, and it's delicious, but I can still hit my goals. And same with like desserts and different pastas and whatever have you. Like I can eat whatever I want. I just make modifications to it and make it healthier and make it fit my goals, and I can still meet my goals. I mean, obviously, you saw my before and after pictures.
Yeah. You were shredded.
Yep, and
Absolutely
I ate
shredded.
I ate great food, through the transformation challenge was 8 weeks. The last two I did cut up on, stuff and dial stuff in.
Yeah. Of
The
course.
last week I did kind of like a peak week thing. So yeah, I cut out a lot of stuff that last week, but for the first 6 weeks and a lot of the seventh week, I ate all the yummy stuff. So, and
Well,
just,
first of all, a lot of people carbs have gotten a bad rap.
oh yeah, Carbs make you fat.
Carbs, yeah, they do not.
They do not
But
make you fat.
it's the type of carbs we're eating, right? If we're eating a lot of sugary stuff, or
Sugar, yeah,
depending on your body, if you're eating tons of pasta, anything that is, very, very, I want to say very high on the glycemic index chart, right?
yeah,
Where you're just burning through that stuff. That stuff is not good for you. You want to eat healthier, cleaner types of carbs. But man, I know girls that lift that are in the 250, 300 grams of carbs a day range. And you take professionals. professional bodybuilder, women in wellness and different things, that they'll have 500, 600 gram carb days. So,
Hmm.
you know, carbs are not necessarily the enemy, and that's the importance of
Nope.
understanding macros, because in understanding the body and its energy systems. So the body basically has two energy systems. One is carbohydrates or glucose in the blood, and the other is fat. And if both of those things are high, that's when most people get in trouble. And when you look at a traditional American diet, right, it is high in carbohydrates and high in fat and fairly
No
medium
protein.
low in protein, right? That is a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
Now, you can be very high in fat, with a moderate amount of carbs, keto, right? If you want to lose weight, you can do that. I think it's a little harder to sustain because the body
Yeah.
loves carbohydrates as an energy source. But
Hmm.
healthy, that is the key. When I'm dealing with clients, my main speech to them is this: listen, I want you to eat lean proteins, clean carbs, lots of green vegetables. Stay out
Hmm.
of the center of the grocery store.
Yeah.
Right? Let's go around the outside. You can
The
have all the
outskirts.
greens and vegetables you want. I got no problem with that. Green vegetables. You got to be a little bit more careful with some of the starchier vegetables, and you don't want to go overboard with fruit, but fruit is good.
Hmm.
You don't want to go overboard with anything, right? You keep a
No.
nice amount of protein in your
Everything in
diet.
moderation.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things I love as you do these things and you
Hmm.
experiment with these different recipes. I mean, I'm gonna post pictures, people, but I mean, she sent me things, and I'm looking at a dessert menu that, like, my mouth's watering. Just like, about this peanut butter thing with the chips on it. What is that? What is that? Can you see that? I don't know. The light might be in the way. It's a piece of
No, but if
pie
I
with
had to
their
get,
cake.
is it pie or is it cake?
It looks kind of like it's cake. Maybe it's got the like maybe butterscotch and chocolate chips on top, and maybe
Peanut
like
butter and
chocolate cake.
chocolate chip.
Yeah.
It's a monster cookie dough cake from the gal's cookbook that I have. It's
Okay.
monster protein cake or something like that. It's actually supposed to have M&Ms on it, but I'm not a milk chocolate fan, so I threw some
Yeah.
peanut butter and semi-sweet chocolate chips on top there.
Yeah.
So,
And so something like that. What you say, monster protein? How much protein does a serving of that have, do you think?
oh geez, I'd have to look. I can't say off the top of my head, but it's a decent amount. Mm, see, I'm not prepared.
Ah,
I don't know, maybe 20 grams or something. I don't know. I'd have to look.
still,
I
that
don't have.
that's a good amount. So a lot of people, I have this discussion too. They get into that uh thing, well, okay, I need to have high protein. I need to be doing, 40, 50 grams of meal. And I'm like, no, 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 you don't. First of all, science has kind of told us that anything over about 40 grams is just scrap anyway. And that really depends on your body, how much muscle you're carrying, right? How big you are. But anything over 40 grams, I mean, per meal is really in excess. Like I said, once again, this is for the average Joe out there that's just trying to live a healthy life and be well, right? Um, the best advice I could give to you is drink lots of water, right? Because water aids us in lots of things. It speeds up metabolism. It keeps us hydrated. It helps keep the muscles lubricated and the joints lubricated. It also helps us to feel a little bit full. So if you have a nice
Yep.
glass of water before you eat a meal, and then because you discussed immediately, your first change was portion size, which is key for all of us. And you change those portion sizes. You don't eat until you're full. You eat until you're satisfied, not full. You always want to leave the table just a little bit hungry, but satisfied, right? You don't want to overeat. Uh,
Hmm.
even even bodybuilders or people training, when you overeat, it distends your stomach. Even if you're staying in your macros, even if you're in a bulk phase, you start distending your stomach. That's when all these bubble gut situations come about. It's not good for your digestion. You'd be better off eating more meals, smaller amounts throughout the day. If it takes you 7 or 8 meals, I mean, Cutler used to basically eat 24/7. Like, he'd set his alarm to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to slam a protein shake to go back to bed. Because if he did it, he was like he couldn't keep the weight on. It was very hard for him to keep the weight on. He would literally go to bed and wake up like 4 or 5 pounds lighter. So he had to start eating like 7, 8 times a day, and getting up in the middle of the night to eat and having, lots of food throughout the day with many meals.
Yeah, and it's important to mention that, I mean, everybody is different, and you know, everybody has different goals and different. Everybody's body
Mhm.
operates different too. So, not to say that everybody needs to be eating like all day long and stuff like that. So, but yeah, and some people do better with 3 large meals a day, and some people do better with 5 to 7 smaller meals a day.
Mhm.
Um, no matter what I eat, I am a person who, like, even if I eat large meals, I still need snacks in between because I can't find anything that lasts me for like 5 hours or something like that. So
Well,
I tend to like
you're
eat several
lean,
things.
you're lean and you have a lot of muscle mass, so your metabolism is fired. That sucker's running. It is. Your metabolism, I bet it's churning. What's your calorie intake for the day on average?
Well, right now around 1800 or so. So it's
Yeah.
still
And how tall are you?
5'9".
5'9", and what are you weighing?
Uh, I don't know. I after the
About
challenge,
this.
140 is about my normal.
Hmm.
So
So 5'9", 140, and shredded with abs. So what does that tell you?
well,
That
that's
tells you
not
that you're
bad. I was
well.
like 125 at the end of the challenge. So
Okay, so 125 still shredded with abs. That is you're carrying some muscle there. Because
yeah.
even you at 140, you can still see your abs. I don't It's very rare that I've ever seen a picture that you've posted of yourself that you didn't have at least some abs showing through.
Hmm.
So, that just says that you're carrying quite a bit of muscle on you.
I do. Yeah.
And yeah, so and the more muscle we carry, obviously, right, the higher our metabolism is. I find for the average Joe out there, the intermittent fasting is fantastic. And you can pick your windows, right? It doesn't have to be an 8-hour window. You just need some type of eating window to eat in, so that you're not just constantly, like I'm a 52-year-old guy, trained like a bodybuilder, but I'm not eating like that. I can't eat that kind of food anymore all the time. I have some injuries, some different things. So I do a form of intermittent fasting, but because I eat around my training, because that's so important to me, my window's just a little bit longer. I use about a 9-hour window instead of an 8-hour window, but I try to get my meals in, every couple hours throughout that period, and it's usually 4 meals, and then, I'm good. So, but everybody's got to find their own thing, and that's why I think it's good to work with somebody. You have somebody that you counseled and talked with and looked over, their books and things that they put together to kind of help you get things on point, especially at first. And my like with me, my coaching style, I tell my clients right off the bat, it's like, listen, I don't want you to be my client forever. I am the type of coach, I want to teach you how to do it so that you can then
So you
do
can
it for
run on your
yourself.
own.
And you don't need
Hmm.
me anymore. I'm still there. If you want to call me up, or you need a little advice, or you want getting ready to do something special and you want some help, yeah, we can run a couple months again. But ideally, unless you're, like my clients that I train for the stage, it's a little bit different. But we work together a lot just because there's a lot that's involved in that. But I want them to be educated, because that is how they can go out and truly live their life. And that's
Hmm.
what I love about stuff that you do. I don't know if you know you're doing this or not, but you do. You are educating. Anybody that's following you is getting an education. But like I said, one of the things I love about you is, whether you realize it or not, with the information that you put out there, you are educating people. You're giving them things to see and look at and go, wow, okay, I can make good, tasty food, and I can keep it in my macros. You know,
Hmm.
it's good quality whole food ingredients. I mean, tell me about what was that chicken pizza you made? Was it like a buffalo chicken pizza one
Oh,
I saw?
buffalo chicken pizza. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, that I love that. That looked delicious. So, what goes into that? How do you make that high protein pizza? Could you tell us that?
Yeah. So basically, I take, and there's a few different ways you can do it. You can find some little high protein pizza crusts, personal, size,
Hmm.
and they have like 20 grams of protein in that alone.
Wow. And then you're
Um,
throwing chicken on top of it. So,
so there's that, and then what I use is because I have the toppings are so high protein anyway. I use a really like super thin flat bread that I fold in half. So it's I think it's like 14 carbs for the whole thing. It's like a foot, big, and I fold it in
yeah.
half and make it my pizza base. Um, but then I have this mixture of Greek yogurt, low fat ricotta, and fat free cream cheese. And I have that all blended up, mixed with some hot sauce and ranch seasoning powder.
Yeah.
And so all three of those are protein and
Yeah.
like super low
And it's low
fat.
fat. Yeah. So,
And then I have my I have my different cheeses that I put on there, and I'm kind of a cheese freak, so I'm not one just throw one kind of cheese on there. I am a little bit extra on my cheese, so I have like five, six, seven different cheeses that I like to put in there. But I'll use like mixture of like I'll put some fat-free cheddar in there to help cut because the other cheeses I put on there might be like regular fat.
yeah.
Um, just mixtures of cheeses, some low fat cheeses or whatever. And then I have grilled or baked or whatever chicken that I've already cooked up in some buffalo seasoning. And I put that on there and then I just toss it in the oven. Or if it's, nice outside, it goes on the grill and that's the best because you get the little crispy, crunchy, charry pizza crust on the bottom.
Yeah.
But so yeah, like ingredients like that instead of, like full fat ranch dressing and full fat cheeses and cream cheeses, and some people, I'll buy like fat free this or like low fat. And they're like, you need your fat. I'm like, oh, trust me, I know I get my fat, but I like to get my fat all across the board and not have it one thing take up all of my fat needs for the day and overeat on
Yeah.
fat. So I do buy a lot of like low fat and fat free items because I love my nut butters that have
Oh,
fat in
yeah.
them. So I gotta have room for my nut butters. I love cheese. I love avocado. Um, so to allow me to get more of that stuff, I get some fat free things here and there and I cut the fat in that way. So because fats are glorious and I don't get a lot of those. So
Yeah, and fat, I think people say you need your fats, but most people I think eat way too much fat, right? I mean,
Mhm.
they'll eat, 150, 200 grams of fat in a day, and that you don't need that much fat. That you
Oh
should
no.
be your fat should be around, I don't know, 400 calories or so, 4 to 5, depending on, how big your diet is. Um, but I don't add fat to almost anything, right? Because I get all my fat mainly from my lean protein sources. If I add fat to something, it's usually maybe a little bit of olive oil or something, just if I need it. But it's very rare that I add fat. You'd be amazed at the amount of fat you could get in your diet, even just eating lean, unless you're eating super lean fish all the time and that's all you're eating. If you're eating any kind of chicken or any kind of red meat, you even if it's lean, even if it's 93 lean, you're going to get plenty of fat in your diet.
Yep. Your meats, you got to really watch your meats because a lot of people will like, oh, I'm eating ground burger, it's good, but if you're getting like 80%, there is so much fat in there. And I've
Yeah.
actually recently switched to 96 lean for ground beef, and I've actually taken to grinding my own chicken breast.
Oh yeah,
Um,
okay.
because you can find chicken breast on sale for $2 or less a pound sometimes, but it's like $6 if you buy it pre-ground for like
Yeah.
99. So I do
Yeah.
that and I save a lot of money that way. But I do chicken is probably my favorite because it's so versatile and it's so
Hmm.
lean and super high in protein. I do love my beef. I really do. It's not, I
Well,
guess,
you're in
for me. It's not,
Nebraska. You better. They'll kick you out of the state if you don't like beef up there.
but yeah, and then something that also is another passion of mine is like deal hunting. So when I say hey, 96 beef is what I switched to, that stuff's like, you know, $10 a pound.
Yeah, it's expensive
Yeah.
because I use
So
93, and that's expensive.
that's
Yeah.
what I always have used up until recently is I've always used 93. And then I'm like, well, the 96 is too expensive. Well, I have, a grocery store that I frequent that marks down their meat like a day before the sell by date. So every time I'm in the store, I'm scouring for those markdown stickers and I can get it for half price. So
Yeah.
I like to save money doing that way and I'll stock up and freeze. Whenever I find it, I freeze it. So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I do that too. Like if I come across a good deal on chicken or whatever, I'm gonna buy, several packs and I will stock up and freeze it. And I know what a lot of people don't realize, especially when it comes to chicken, is that they're like, oh, I can't eat chicken thighs. There's too much fat in them. Well, actually, funny thing about this is that 100 grams cooked weight of chicken breast and 100 grams cooked weight of chicken thighs, the fat difference is 0.04 grams of fat. That's it. It's the protein content. Chicken breasts are very high in protein. Chicken thighs are not. That's why most people in fitness will eat chicken breasts over thighs. It's not because of the fat. It's because of the amount of protein per 100 grams of cooked weight of chicken breast versus chicken thigh. It's just a lot more. It's a lot denser protein food, and when you can do that, you can eat a lot less quantity of food to get your macros in. So you're not having to, eat 250 grams of chicken thighs when you can eat 100 grams of chicken breast and get the same amount of protein out of it.
yeah, I enjoy chicken breast. That is my choice of chicken there. I'm not a huge fan of thighs only because I'm one of those people who I don't like any bits of fat or anything, gristle or
Yeah,
anything. And even when you buy boneless, skinless, there's still too much and it takes me probably a half an hour to trim off everything that I don't want on there to be able to get the
yeah,
usable portion that I want. So I'm like, it's
yeah,
too much work. And I actually do put a lot of work into all my cooking, but chicken thighs are just
yeah.
so much. But I'm
I
like,
do
nah.
both. I do both. I'll do thighs and breasts. I do a lot of fish. I like whitefish, pollock, cod.
I wish I liked fish.
Yeah, I do a lot of fish. I'll usually probably have four. I'd say 4 or 5 fish meals a week. At some point, whether it be lunch or
Wow.
whatever. I do eat quite a bit of fish. And like I said, mainly it's chicken. Like my main staples are ground turkey, chicken, and fish. A little bit of red meat once a week. So,
Hmm.
but
I do
and
make
usually
my
I
own
like that in steak
sausage
form.
too.
Your own what?
Sausage out
Oh
of
yeah, there you go.
turkey, and I've mixed ground turkey with my own ground chicken breast.
Hmm.
So I can make it leaner than what you find at the store.
Yeah,
And just the seasonings basically, and my own like turkey chorizo and stuff. And then what I do is I cook up a bunch of it, and then I will freeze it, and then I can just pull it out, grab whatever I want, and put it in my recipe or put it in a burrito or whatever have you, and love doing that.
yeah. We'll do down here. In Alabama, there's a lot of deer hunting and stuff. We do a lot of wild game, which wild game's very very lean.
Mhm.
Very lean cuts of meat, and not everybody likes that. It's for me. We love it. I love the taste of deer, and it's one of those things you harvest it yourself, and you can, you actually know it's literally field to table, right? So,
Yeah, that's always
um,
cool. I was gifted some elk burger, and
the best. Love elk.
that was good. I
Elk's my
make some elk
favorite wild
burgers.
game.
They're
Yeah.
they're tasty.
Elk is my favorite wild game. My dad, when I was growing up, he did a lot of elk hunting, and elk is absolutely delicious. So you're up in that country. We don't have them up here. They did reintroduce them into the Carolinas. Elk. There's some places where they got some elk up there, but down here it's all whitetail. So,
Mhm.
or maybe some squirrel gravy, something like that. But
I'll
which
let
is
you have
actually
the
quite
well, maybe.
it's delicious. I'm telling you right now. You would not think that it is very, very good. So I've had it. I enjoy it. But anyway, so what you got going on in the future? What's happening with you? Anything on the
Um,
horizon? Fun you're doing?
well, no, nothing really. I got a spring break trip coming up, but as far as like just keep going, I love working out, fitness stuff. That's my passion. Keep cooking,
Yeah,
keep finding new recipes to cook, keep sharing that because like you were mentioning, I really do like to share my my food dishes and stuff because I like people to know that, yeah, you don't have to eat chicken and broccoli and rice, and that's it to get. And that's because that's immediately what people go to. Like, I don't want to eat healthy because I can't eat chicken, rice,
yeah.
and vegetables every day. I can't do it. Well, I can't either. And
Me neither. I'm a foodie, man. I'm a fat kid at heart. Like I have to be structured and track my food, or I'm gonna go off the rails, right?
yeah,
Because like my absolute like favorite food of all time is just good cheeseburgers, right?
yeah,
I love a
hmm
good cheeseburger, all kinds of them, and
hmm
not no Chelsea healthy cheeseburger, man. We're
the
talking,
greasy,
yeah, we're
soak up
talking
the
like,
bone, bite into it,
75,
running down your whole, yeah,
yeah, 20, 25% fat content in that
yeah.
beef with, cheese, maybe some onion rings, the whole nine, right? I'm
Well, I
doing it
don't
up.
know who doesn't like a good cheeseburger as long as you're a
Yeah.
meat eater.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. That and I love a good steak, but
Steak is delicious as well.
yeah, I'm a good I like that stuff, but I
Yeah,
do
but
I go ahead.
I was just say other than that, just I mean get back on I need to get myself back on my nutrition because like I said, after my challenge I've been kind of not so
Yeah.
great.
Well,
But so yeah,
it's
just
good
to
to
get back
bounce
on there,
back. That's a
keep
good thing to
challenging.
bounce back. You don't ever want to stay that lean for that long. The body does well carrying a little bit of we should all the healthiest you will be is walking around with double digit fat content less than 20%. If you're a woman, you can get a little bit higher depending on your goals, right? But you if you can stay somewhere between that like 15 and 20%, you will feel good. You're not going to be overweight. You will not feel lethargic. I mean, you're just going to feel better if you can keep it in that range. When we start getting outside of that is when we start to feel the effects of carrying too much fat, right? It's harder on our joints. The fatigue factor sets in. It's not healthy, right? That's typically when we start seeing higher cholesterol levels. Not that you can't be skinny and have high cholesterol, because you can. Cholesterol is more of a genetic thing than it is we don't food doesn't always just because a food is high in cholesterol does not necessarily mean that it's going to translate to high cholesterol in your body. Um, there's other factors that are
Oh
involved
yeah, for sure.
in, blood work and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to see better results on our blood pressure, heart rates, blood work when we're carrying less body weight.
Yep.
It's just
But
better for us.
yep. I just like to kind of spread the awareness, that, food doesn't have to be boring. You can have delicious food. You just got to be mindful of how much and what kind. And when you can make swaps to help fit in your goals better, then do so. And like you said, carbs are not the enemy. Carbs do
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
yeah, it's a calorie surplus is what's going to make you gain weight if you're eating over your maintenance calories. So um, I do eat carbs. Now, do I choose some low carb stuff? Absolutely, because I like to move around my carbs and I like to. know that, oh, I'm going to have this pasta for dinner tonight, and that's higher in carbs. So I'm going to eat a low carb breakfast. So I'm going to buy a low carb, or zero net carb, tortillas and use that for my lunch, or,
Yeah.
eat low, eat egg wraps and, and some people think I'll bring in my lunches to work and they're like, do you do keto? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, I eat carbs. I just choose where I want to eat them. So
Yeah.
some of my meals may be really low carb so I can have a higher carb meal elsewhere. So yeah.
No, that you're right. And that's the important thing is, like I said, I think is tracking what you eat, number one. Because when you never really know what's crossing them lips
You
unless you
don't
track it.
know
You have no
until you
idea.
start paying attention, and you're like, oh, geez, I've been eating that. And it's been, oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yep. Tracking your food, weighing your food, and prepping your food. Those are the things that are going to set you up for success. They
Hmm.
really are. Because when you do that, you have a plan in place. It takes some of the thought and cravings out of it because you just get in that you get in that routine of, okay, it's time to eat.
Yep.
I'm going to eat this meal. I've already made it. It's prepped. I just got to heat it up and eat it. Um,
Yep.
I like to prep most of my meals. I do like to have, at least a one or two fresh meals a day, which is usually breakfast and dinner, right?
Hmm.
My two meals that I eat, I usually eat four meals a day and a couple of protein shakes on each end of that, right?
Hmm.
Um, I'm one that I do not like to train after eating. I'm stronger when I train in the afternoon, but I don't feel I just don't I can't train as hard. I can't train as intense. I usually feel a little nauseous. I don't know. It's very weird. I don't like doing it. So I train fasted first thing in the
Hmm.
morning. But the the way I plan that is my highest carb meal of the day is usually my last meal of the day,
Hmm.
other than I'll have a protein shake. So I'll have my last meal that's pretty high in carbs, usually anywhere from, probably about 45, 50 grams of carbs,
Hmm.
my last meal. And then I'll usually have a protein shake on, like an hour after that, which, my protein has like not much. I mean, I love Old School Labs protein. Their carb content on their protein's pretty low. I can't remember the exact.
Like 2 grams or
Yeah, it's
something
like
like
2
that.
grams. It's nothing. But I have that, and then I get up and I train. And so when you do that, if you are going to train fasted, the way you store glycogen is that's how you do it. You eat that your higher carb meal, the last meal of the day. It's going to help carry you into your workout because you're not burning off a bunch of that glycogen while you're sleeping. Now, it's not as ideal as training on you're always going to be stronger, probably be able to build more muscle if you're training after, two three meals. You just have a complete buildup of nutrition in your body and you're ready to go. But for me, I just can't do it. So I do that, and then I have a protein shake, and then 45 minutes later I have breakfast, and that's usually fresh. And then I'll have
Hmm.
my prep meals. I have two prep meals throughout the day, and then I'll cook a fresh dinner,
Hmm.
right? And so that's how I do it. That's what works for me. You just got to find what works for you, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, some specific strict thing that you can only do it this way. You just have to find what works for you. And
Correct.
everybody is different. Like I'm a first thing in the morning trainer, and I
Yeah.
get up and I do it. And yeah, I would probably be better if I had something in my stomach beforehand, but like that would require me getting up at like 3 a.m. to eat and then working out at 5. And that's no, that's
Yeah.
an absolute no, because I get up at 4:30 or 5 and to get it in before work, because that is what works for me. And then I eat, my breakfasts are, varied, and they're pretty easy and simple. And then for my prepping, I usually cook a few meals a week, and I make enough that I just have some in the fridge, and I don't have them like prepackaged usually and ready to go. I just like, oh, what do I want to eat? What do I want to eat today? Okay, let's
That's how I
plug
do
that
it.
in. And that's it. I just
Yeah.
grab, I'm like, okay, I've got all this ready. I just need to put something together for lunch today. And so I put that, and it's ready to go, eat that for lunch. And then for dinner, I get to pick, what's left. Okay, so let's fill that in. And, usually
Yeah.
I plug out my day. Like either the night before or the morning, and just I pre-plug it in my tracker, so I know what, how much I can have of whatever. And that's the way I do it. So it's a little less, it's semi-structured, I guess I would say, but I don't have like my whole week planned out. And I definitely don't eat the same thing for breakfast every day, the same thing for lunch every day,
Yeah.
and the same thing for dinner every day. So
My breakfast is pretty much the same thing, but the other things, like right now in my fridge, I got like ground turkey. I have some fish from earlier today, and I have some grilled chicken. That's already cooked. I can just go in and grab, make what I want. If I
yep,
want to do rice, if I wanted to make a fresh potato, I could. Or I do a lot of rice. I like white rice. It digests
I
well with
love
me.
rice.
I tell people this, the key that you have to find when it comes to any diet that you choose, I don't care what it is, but the three factors that must be in place are consumption, digestion, and elimination. If one of those three things are off, you need to adjust your diet. When I say consumption, that means you can get it down your mouth, right? It's something that you can eat and swallow. Because if you hate it, if you are gagging down chicken breasts every day or cold chicken, like my friends used to, when I'm leaning out, right? That's all I eat is chicken breast. I eat about 2 pounds of it throughout the day, and I eat it cold. I
I
do
don't even
not.
care. I can eat chicken cold.
Yeah, I just house it,
Chicken.
man. I just eat cold chicken right out. I'll like weigh my container out for the day, and I'll just house chicken all day cold, and then I'll just have like one of my buddies like, "Ugh," but it doesn't. But if you're gagging that down and you can't eat it, well, that's not going to work for you. If
Nope.
it messes with your belly, if you like, so I love pasta. My digestion does not I do not digest pasta well. It messes with me.
Hmm.
My digestion gets messed up, which leads to bad elimination. I either get constipated or now I have diarrhea, and all these things are not good. So you want to be able to consume it, digest it, and eliminate it in an efficient manner where you're not having upset stomach or bad things. If you can do those three things with the food, most likely you'll have success with it.
Yep.
But those are the three things that I think are most important that I look for whenever I'm structuring a diet: consumption,
Yep.
digestion, elimination.
And you've got to be able to enjoy what you're putting in your face
Yeah.
hole.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We're not, most of us, it's a very slim part of the population that are mindless robots that can just shovel whatever's in front of them and go
food is
about their day.
fuel.
Nah, I'm an emotional eater, man. I mean, yeah, it's a probably a psychological problem from growing up. Everything had was tied to food. Oh, you're happy, let's eat. You're sad, let's eat. You're depressed, let's eat.
Yep.
We live and we're brought up in that culture, and we need to learn to manage it. We need to
Yeah,
learn,
right.
and that's where what you're doing is so special because you are going to help people like me that love good food and varieties to be able to eat these things that taste great. They look great, they taste good, and they fit macros. So you can eat
Hmm.
them. You're not going to feel guilty. You get that good, mouth feel, and
Yep.
go about your
No,
day.
I'm pretty proud of how much I've learned and what I've learned to do on my own. Is it a lot of information in the beginning? Absolutely. But, learning something new takes some work and some effort, and you gotta be willing to learn. And once you do it, the reward is so much better. And
Have you ever thought about putting together your own recipe book and selling it?
mm,
I'd
no,
buy it.
no.
I'd buy it. You should think about it. I'm telling you right now, there's a market for that. There's a market for it. I
Hmm.
think you could do quite well. You put together a recipe book, you have the ingredients, the macros, uh, you know, you have all these desserts in there, all that stuff. I'm telling you, you could definitely do well with that. I think you could do
Well,
good.
thank you.
Think about it. Think about
But
it. All right.
Yeah.
Any last thing you want to leave us with? I've had you for almost an hour. I know it's a work night. Thank you for accommodating as well. It's my fault, people. I had the vid. We were supposed to do this Sunday and get it out, and I reached out to Chelsea, asked if we could do it midweek because I was sick as a dog. But I'm on the upswing now. So, but I
Yes, I'm
appreciate
glad to hear
you
that.
accommodating. So, but
Um,
anything you want to leave the people with?
just know that when it comes to food, if you're a foodaholic like myself, love you some good food. There are ways to still meet goals, and I don't know if James might have, my before and after pictures floating around that he could throw on.
I do. I could track them out through the Old School Labs page. I could rip.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, you
So
definitely were shredded. You did good, and I'm gonna post a bunch of your food pics too,
yeah.
along with your
So
social
just
media.
know that you can do it. And it does take a little bit of work, but once you figure it out, oh, you man, you can. The sky's the limit, and you can eat some delicious high protein food and meet those goals and be fantastic because you're fantastic.
Hey, thanks, Chelsea. So, Chelsea, thanks so much for coming on. I love your enthusiasm and your energy. I like you, just even your Facebook posts, man. Your little shaky cardio posts every day. I always get a good smile out of that. Yeah, you're just fun. It's a
You
fun
know,
time. I'm glad to know you, girl.
sometimes I get it up there and it gets clearer. I'm like, oh, that's not shaky. I got to redo this.
Yeah, no, you're just fun. You're fun and engaging. You're a great human being, and I appreciate it. With that, people, thanks so much for liking, subscribing. Follow Chelsea on her social media because I'm telling you, just the mouth orgasm alone would be worth it. I'm telling you, when every time I see your stuff, I start drooling. So, but with that, you get out there and you work hard, people. So remember, don't forget to smile. Thanks so much for watching or listening. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook at Work Hard Peoples LLC or Instagram at Work Hard Peoples LLC. You can also find us on our website at workhardpeoples.com. Have a great day or night. Don't forget to smile.